mostly bring healing to our hearts and our mind. And we thank you that there's none like you, even when we don't understand you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm rolling. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to call it what I see it. This is the fourth Sunday of the month, and I am going to try and honor my word on dealing with relationships, dealing with family. And let me start out by saying, again, making the announcement that the group, I work with a domestic violence group here in Fairfield, and on Wednesdays, starting July the 11th, I think it's the week after the 4th, we're trying to get it up and rolling, that we're making ourselves available to women who have been or being abused or who have been abused. And I was supposed to attend another meeting, I think Wednesday night, and we'll be wrapping up on the final details as to, I don't know if children are allowed, and that's one of the things that we're working on, because we're trying to just be there for you, and I know it's hard to find places to watch your children. We know how, I have a wife, and I know how she feels about her kids, and just don't want to drop them off anywhere. That creates even a greater problem. But anyway, we're going to be available for you. I'll have the address the next time we talk, and well, not the next time, before the 11th of July actual kickoff date. And if you know someone, encourage them to come by. Encourage them to come and get the support that they need. Let them know they're not in this alone. And for God's sake, the thing I've learned the most is not to try to give them advice. They already know, but just be there. And that's what I'm going to work on, just being there for you, just being that voice, being that hug, being that arm, being that person that'll listen to you without judging you, without trying to give you advice, but just listen. When you want advice, you ask for it. Again, this is one of my favorite topics. I have two now. One is the kingdom, and the second one is the family, and family, how it relates to the kingdom, because it does. There was a conversation on Facebook that I generally don't, I'm not a Facebook, what they call them, troll, or something that trolls people, sites, and think I have all the answers and advice. I just like to chime in every once in a while and give my perspective. And there was a question about, can a person who has never been married give advice on marriage? And I listened to a lot of the comments, and I read a lot of the comments, and quite naturally, in the natural, that answer would be no, if you were looking at it from a natural perspective. And you might say, well, what's the other perspective? The other perspective is marriage was never your idea in the first place. So it was a spiritual perspective. So if it wasn't your idea, I know, again, we grew up in a culture, we grew up in an environment where Big Mama and Tata and Tay Tay and Nene and all of this stuff, be folk giving us advice, and we love these people, and we know these people, or acquainted with these people, and we kind of take their word. As a child, you don't know, so growing up, you don't challenge what you hear. But as an adult, there comes a point when you're going to have to look it up for yourself. You're going to have to get to experience it for yourself. And you need to know, you're going to need to know the answers, because you find out what Big Mama said may not be correct. Or you may find out what Tata said ain't right. What Nene said that was good, but it's not correct. And a lot of it is not what we were reading last week. A lot of it may not even be pleasing to God. It may be pleasing to Big Mama. It may be pleasing to all your relatives or the people that were telling you, but it may not be pleasing to God. So if you want to learn how to please God, you got to get God answered for it. So the answer, to make a long story short, Apostle Paul, according to historians, was never married. He was not married. But yet he writes in Philippians how the woman ought to be. He writes in not Philippians, Ephesians. He writes what God wanted in the marriage. So how you going to explain that? So the answer to that, yes, he could. Because marriage, he was giving instructions as to what God wanted his family to look like. And that's what's important. What does God want your family to look like? So we know Peter was married because Jesus healed his mother-in-law of a fever. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a mother-in-law. That indicate I have a what? Wife. Mm-hmm. So he healed Peter's mother-in-law in the book of Matthew, I think it is, of a high fever. So that told me right there, Peter had a mother-in-law, Peter had a wife. Because some of these words, again, I have this concordance because some of these words do mean the same. Some of these words don't mean the same. That's why you have to look it up. And I keep going back to pretext, context, and post-text. When you're looking at the pretext, what was he talking about before he makes the statement for the word that you're trying to define? Before he makes the comment on the word that he's talking about? What was the context? What was going on? What was the whole nature of the conversation when the person said what they were saying? And post-text, what did he say after that? Did he go into something else? Did he change his conversation about something else? So now I'm seeing how important that is to understand what the writer, when you want to understand what a writer is trying to convey, you must understand those things. What was he talking about? Mm-hmm. Pretext. What is the context of what he's talking about? What was going on when he was writing? Mm-hmm. And post-text. What happened after that? So those things you hear me talk about all the time. So with that being said, I decided I would kind of like help relationships out. Because my wife done it a couple weeks ago on relationships. About a month ago, and she talked about the word single, which is the single most thing that you must learn if you're going to get involved with a relationship. You must become a single person first. But what if I've gotten married already and I didn't know that I needed to be single? Mm-hmm. It's too late for you. No, I'm just kidding. It is not too late for you. Because you can start working on your singleness now. Right. Everyone, even in marriage, you can start working on being single. No, don't go file a written divorce. Working on being single means a unique individual. One of a kind. Something you don't find just any and everywhere. I just happened to, when I read the book, Marriage, Single, Separate Life After Divorce, I was in the divorce section. So I wanted to hear what he had to say about divorce. I wanted to hear what he had to say about separation. I wanted to hear what he had to say about being single. Because my being single, not being single, led to my divorce. I saw, when I was reading and studying that book, I caught the bus to divorce town. I just hopped on a bus going to divorce town when I faced reality about where I was and what had happened, because I was not a single individual. There was nothing about me that screamed uniqueness. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know nothing about purpose. I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. So I know when I began to read, and that's why I always tell people, you don't have to listen to me. Maybe you think, I don't know what I'm talking about. And don't even listen to you, because you may not know what you're talking about. But the question is, you're going to have to find the truth. You're going to have to find out really what's going on with you. What's going on the inside of you, how to fix you, and especially if you're not happy with what you have. And I've come to the conclusion, my wife's job is not to make me happy. Her job is not to make me happy. That's not her role. If I gave her that job, she would never be able to fulfill it. Because she made me happy this week, next week I might be sad again. She'd constantly be changing her clown suit to make me happy. That's my job. My job is to find my purpose. My job is not to let you discover my purpose, not even allow you to tell me my purpose. Two pencils cannot tell each other their purpose. That's only in the mind of the Creator. So I'm looking at this through knowing that God is a king, knowing that I'm in a kingdom. how does he want his marriages or his people in his kingdom to behave with one another? Mm-hmm. And I went back to, my wife and I was talking to the word government as we were walking. We do our Saturday morning walk. And she had looked at government, and when she was talking, I just said I was going to talk about relationships and especially marriage from a government perspective today. Because your first encounter with governing or managing anyone is in your marriage, especially for the male. But I found some interesting stuff as I was looking at this, and I didn't really just do an in-depth study. It's just certain words that come to my mind. And when I started looking them up, I had to go back to that pretext, context, pretext, context, and post-text again to see, oh my God, this may not be saying what I thought it was saying years ago. And that's why you want to study. The information you got last year may not be good enough for this year because it keeps changing. You keep learning stuff. I keep learning stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know I listened to on page 37, the government of God versus the governments of man. Mm-hmm. I listened to that 30 days. This is no lie. 30 days straight. I listened to that chapter 2, the kingdom of God versus the governments. And I knew on a tape. I had it on tape. No. And I was listening to it on the bus. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got to read it in the book, I didn't even have to pretty much search out words because I had listened. It was so ingrained from listening to it 30 days. I would catch the bus, I would bike, I would walk, and I would listen to the kingdom of God versus the governments of man. But that's not what we want to talk about, the governments of man, which is the different kinds of governments. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the word governing or government itself. Mm-hmm. Because that's what's important. First of all, you have to understand this, that the need for government, mm-hmm. it is inherent in us as human beings. Yes. We need government or some form of order. That's really all government is. Right. It's a form of order. You can say what you want right now. Our governmental stage is in a disarray. You can't keep lying that much, and not because it's President Trump. Mm-hmm. If I lie, if I'm covering up stuff, I would bet any woman, this is not against him or if it was Obama. When I heard some stuff on the news the other day that Obama done, just before his time was up, in not announcing that the FBI had found that these folks had collaborated, but he didn't want folks to believe or think that he was coming out in favor of Hillary. That's crazy. And they were saying he knew this stuff, but he didn't want the people to be saying he was in favor of Hillary. No, it's not about that. It's about what's right and I'm listening to this stuff. This is crazy. That's not a style of leadership that I want in me. I want to declare the truth, even if it's my daddy that done it, my mama that done it. I might lose the election. I might lose what I have, but I have to tell myself the truth in order to tell you the truth, so I won't keep lying. And then, because you got to cover it up with another lie. Mm-hmm. And then when they come out, they're going to know you were lying. Then nobody going to trust what you have to say. No way.
Right. So tell the truth.
So this is not favoring Obama and bashing Trump or bashing Trump and favoring Trump and bashing Obama. I'm talking about governing. I'm talking about government. And we need this order. It's in the human spirit. And it's a manifestation of the divine mandate by the Creator. We were created to be a governor and a ruler, not just a man. He said, let them have dominion. So therefore, that woman or that male man, was created to be a governor and a ruler. Mm-hmm. And you see a small portion of that when you have a family. Mm-hmm. It's not just that man's responsibility to rule that house. Because when he's gone, who's got to rule the house? That woman's got to rule that roost.
Yeah.
She got to hold that roost down. You just can't let the children just do anything.
Right.
They'll run out in the street. They'll drink poison. You have to learn how to what? Govern and rule and keep things in order in that house. Am I right?
Right.
Or am I wrong?
Right.
You don't do it and watch what happens in that house.
Chaos.
Chaos. That's right. Chaos control, as they call it. You're going to have complete chaos in that house. That is why the husband and wife have to really talk so much to each other to get on the same page, because children know it creates another kind of chaos when they know mom and dad not on the same page.
Yeah.
Mama said I can do it. Daddy said I can't. Daddy said I can do it. Mama said I can't.
Right.
It's going to create chaos. And you're going to have children who are going to be playing you against each other.
Yeah.
Because they are good at it. You looking at a man talking to you, I was an expert. I can teach you a class on how to play mom against dad.
And they learn so quickly.
And they learn.
And I didn't teach
no
them.
one taught me
No
this.
one taught them.
You
They
just
know how-
you sense it. It's like it's built in.
Yeah.
You watching and you okay. And nobody even taught me the vocabulary. I learned earlier that I was using them. Later, in life. But I didn't know. I just saw that window. I saw that gap. I saw that disconnect. And I played it to my, really just selfishness. Let's just tell it. Let's call it. I played it to whose advantage?
Yours. Yeah.
Why? Because I wanted something.
Right.
Right.
I wanted to go to the football game. I wanted to go do this. I wanted to go there to the bar, to the club. So mama would say no, and daddy gonna say yes. Which one you think I'm gonna have? If I asked mom, it wasn't to get her approval. It's just to let her know I'll be gone. And she gonna say, no, you can't go. So I got dressed like I was going to church. So I was in the club in my church clothes. If that's what they call. They were just clothes. You can call them church clothes if you want them. They were just clothes. But I got dressed to go to the club like I was going to church. So I would go up to where my dad was and say, can I go? He looking at it. Young men. They you can't keep them in no church all the time. You can't. So he going to say, yeah. So when I got home, and how did I know I just played them? When I got home, George, I thought I told them children to go to church tonight. Well, he didn't know that.
Right.
He was at the store. He was out of the house. He didn't hear her. He heard nobody. And so that told me they weren't together anyway on who should go to church and when I should go to church. They weren't together on that. So I played that card. I knew how to play it. It's like playing a race card. I knew exactly when to throw my ace on the ground.
Yeah.
It only took you one time to do it, and that was it.
No,
The first time. And then you
first, yeah. When I got away with it the first time,
Hell yeah.
it was on. Baby.
Yeah, I know.
It was on.
I know.
Hey, I can come back and do this again on whatever I want.
Yeah.
Anything I wanted, I'm gonna play it just like this. Because you saw that it worked.
It worked.
So
I don't know nothing about
now
it.
you don't know.
My different.
The need for government and order is inherent. Whenever it's inherent means it's what? Built in. Just like king. Being a king is an inherent thing. You don't get to vote it in. You don't get to pray that it is inherent. It is automatically inherited inside of you. The need for government or some kind of order.
Right.
So, if that's the case, it is human nature to seek authority, some type of authority mechanism to bring order to your private and social world. It's just human nature to do it. So, governing or governor and ruler is inherent in you. You can't get away from it. The other part that got me was now I got to look at what is government. That's page 42. What is government? So if being a governor or a ruler is inherent, what is government? Government is about, here's what it's really about. It's about order. It's about influence. Watch that word influence, and administration. Distribution, protection, maintenance, accountability, responsibility, and productivity. But I like this word order and influence and administration. Watch, you're going to see them come up in this teaching. Because I just, wow, okay. Because if that's what government is about, let's see then what God and his word through Paul was trying to get us to convey or to understand or to get. I think it's 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Paul writes, now, this is Paul giving instructions. I just got a text. I don't know. Is anybody saying they can't hear? Oh, that's CVS Pharmacy. I want to look this word up. I thought somebody was texting me. There ain't nobody.
Put your phone up there so you can
So I can hear it.
Yeah.
I want to. Now, this is Paul giving Timothy about how to be an overseer.
3:5.
3:5.
It says,
Read it. You go ahead and read it.
if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
There's a responsibility of a man to rule. Now, this is interesting. When you read it out of the Amplified, it's not going to say man as male, but it does use the word he. But this was interesting. When I read the word, when I looked the word man up there, it's the word any male or anybody. That was interesting, because all my life in church, I thought this was talking just about the male.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But when you look that word man up, which we're going to do, give me some time, I'm going to show you. But I want to see, Paul is talking to Timothy, right? And we learned a couple weeks ago, Timothy's mom was Jewish and his dad was a Gentile. I think that's right. So he had a Jewish mother and a Gentile father, or another type of father. So he's telling him how to make a good, if somebody wanted to be an overseer. And all the overseer there is, or bishop is the word, is the same word overseer, is someone who would lead.
Right.
There's nothing special about what Paul is saying there. He was saying, if you desire to lead, that you must learn how to lead your own family.
Right.
But he did not use the word household. He used the word house. But let's look at the word overseer and see exactly what an M-N-O-P, right? Let's see what an overseer. God, I wish sometime we would take the time and look this stuff up.
Got to.
You got to. You got to. You got to learn.
One subject.
One subject at a, I mean, I'm comfortable with staying with one subject.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until I get it. O-V-E-R-S. I don't see it. It don't use the word here.
Okay.
But we're going to go over here. Now, let's look at it in Amplified. For if a man does not know how to rule his own household. Here, the Amplified use the word household. But the Bible uses the word house.
Yeah.
How is he to take care of the church of God? Now, what is the Greek word for house? Found it interesting. Wait, and I'll tell you. It comes from 36. Hold on, don't go nowhere. That's why you got to get you one of these books. You got 36:24. I'm not going to even try to say that word. 36. I said 36:24. But that's one thing I know I can't pronounce. But here's what it means: a dwelling. D-W-E-L-L-I-N-G. A dwelling, more or less extensive, literal or figuratively by implication. A family.
Okay.
That's why I use the word household.
Right.
Because what's in a household?
Family.
Family. Now, what does the family consist of? Most of the time, mom, dad, sister, brother. But that's not, as I started doing marital seminars, I found out a family is what a family is. It could be mom
And daughter.
and daughter in there, and it's still considered a what?
Family.
Because remember, Carol, I said, see, that's why now I had to go back and rethink what Paul is at. If you don't know how to rule your own family,
That's right.
help me here. See, this we broke it down in church to it had to be a male and that structure of a house, a mom and a dad and children and a white picket fence. That's not what Paul. If you don't know how to rule your family, he says, your dwelling. Boy, we said a lot of stuff that it didn't say.
Yeah.
We said a lot of stuff. We threw in a lot of stuff.
We lied.
We were lying because we want. See, you want to be stuff and say stuff that everybody else is saying, and it sounds good. And when I started teaching family relationship, I began to realize every family doesn't look the same.
Yes. That's right.
It's still a family,
But it's still a family.
Right.
That's why he said dwelling. He used the word house. Whatever is in your house makes up your household.
Yeah.
Whatever your dwelling is, you have to learn how to rule it. Because there's one word going to come to mind as we keep talking. It's the word influence. Which influence is you have to get it to do stuff.
the right ways.
The right way. Because I can influence you for good and I can also influence you for bad.
Yeah.
Whatever your dwelling is, Paul said you have to learn how to rule it before you get put in position.
Better for worse.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Let's just talk. Let's get the context of what he was talking about. Paul is saying something here to Timothy. If that person want to be in lead, Paul is saying to Timothy, here's what you look for. How is he managing his dwelling? How is he managing his household? Because how is Emma influencing Kara? Does she have Kara? Is there order? Is there order in that house? In that dwelling?
Yeah.
Is it in order?
Yes.
Man, this is interesting. Home, house, household, temple. All that's saying is what he's saying here. I found that, so that person has to learn how to govern, which means to influence.
Set laws.
Set laws, administrate. He has to learn how to bring order to it. He has to learn how to influence it. He has to learn how to be the administrator. He or she has to learn how to protect. All of that responsibility is on that person. And you before you put them in leadership role, you got to know how did they do that? How well are they doing that? Now that's just the word house. Let's look at the word man. Don't rush me. Let me take my time. Can I take my time?
Yes.
Because he said man there, right? He said a man must learn how. Let's look at the word man.
Okay.
Timothy, 3 and 5. I just found this stuff. Oh, I knew where that one paged on. The Greek word is 5100. I already knew that because I was looking at it last night. 5100. And you get the word, Kara, you might have to help me with this. TIS. Spelled like this. Thank you. TIS. And let me show you where the... That's all it says. I don't see no...
Tis?
Tis.
Oh,
wow.
That's what the Greek word there means for man.
Okay.
Tis. It's got to be... You would think it would be... That's all it says.
Okay.
And some or any person or object. Any person.
That's what that means. Okay.
That's what it means. Any person. How do we get that to be just the
man?
Just the man. That's why he used the word house or household or dwelling. Paul said, oh my God, I'm telling you, I was looking at this yesterday like, oh my God, I think we need to go back and get this stuff straight. We like to, again, we just like to say a lot of stuff without keeping it in its proper content. Now you can, if you smarter than me, throw it on out there and get you some more stuff in it.
Right.
I'm just telling you, I'm looking at the word here. If a man, anybody, any person,
human being,
man, thing, thing at all, certain, man, one, partly some, man, body, whatsoever. This was just blowing my mind yesterday when I was looking at who. He's not designating male, but whoever is ruling that dwelling
Okay.
has to learn how to do it like this. It's what Paul is saying. And like this is what was above that. The deacon had a certain role. The pastor had the bishop had the bishop there is the word superintendent or overseer, which is what I'm going to look up. Must give no grounds for accusation, must be above reproach. The husband of one wife. Now we do know what that means. Circumspect, temperate, self-control. See, these things you don't want to put a person, see, if you don't have self-control, you're not going to influence anyone for good.
Right.
We're dealing with a son now that doesn't have self-control. And you kind of got a problem if you can't control yourself.
Yeah.
Temperate.
Yeah.
Even temperate. Not easy to make mad. That's where Paul was coming from. When we're saying pretext, what was Paul talking about before he got to verse 5? Because in verse 1 he says, this saying is true and irrefutable. If a man, I didn't look up the word man there, I had to go back and look, eagerly seeks the office of a bishop, superintendent, overseer, he desires an excellent task or an excellent work. Good if you're seeking that. Didn't say it was wrong, but he said if you're seeking an excellent task, Paul says. Now, he goes to say a bishop, superintendent, overseer, must give no grounds for accusation, but must be above reproach. And he just kept talking. And then he gets to verse 5. And he doesn't use the word man. I didn't know what the man meant in verse 1. I didn't look it up. But I'm going to go back now and try to tie him and see what man he was using, because he said must be the husband of one wife. I would dare say he's talking about a male individual. Has to be, because a husband, we got men married men today and call them first, not first ladies, but first husbands, they call them. Paul said first must be the husband of one wife. I think he knew what he was talking about, the difference between, but that's not the topic. The topic is today governing. We're talking about governing. So that's what the word, what was that word I was defining there? Tis, the word man. Now, the next thing he says, he must learn how to rule his own house. Govern. I had to look that word up. Rule. What are you talking about? Rule. Let's look up rule. Because isn't that the word he used? Did he use? Let's see. Rule. R-U-L-E. He must learn how to R-U-L-E his own dwelling. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there. Matter of fact, I don't have to go there. This is the word. I don't know if you can pronounce it, Kara. Right there, that word. But let me look it up to show you that's what it is.
It's number 5?
Yeah, how you say that? P-O something?
P-O-I?
Yeah.
Pomanio?
Pomanio.
I think that's how
Yeah, that's what I would say it. Hold on.
M-A-N-I-O.
And that word is meaning to, no, not that one. I'm sorry. Number 3.
So number 3?
Number 3. Let me find it here.
This right here. Poistimi.
Poistimi?
Poistimi. Poistimi. To stand before, hence, to lead, attend to.
That's what it means.
Indicating care.
That particular word, when I looked it up yesterday, to rule.
To rule.
Hold on, just stay right there.
Got it.
And this is in the Greek.
Yeah, that's the Greek word for it. There you go, right here. It comes from 4291 in the Greek. 4291. Give me a second. Because I was going through all these last 4291. 4291. See? There it is right there.
Same word?
Same word.
Prostimi?
4291.
Prostimi.
Prostimi. Now give me some words for prostimi.
Prostimi. Okay, yeah.
Prostimi. That's what that word rule means.
Sorry.
He must learn how to Say that again.
No, I'm looking at the pronunciation. Proistime.
Proistime?
Proistime.
So give me some words. Give me some words that he's using. And what is Paul saying? Proistime.
To stand before.
To stand before. Same thing here.
Example in rank.
Example. An example in rank. Read.
To preside.
Presiding bishop, or he is standing in rank. Rank means you got a husband, a wife, and children, or sergeant, or this or that. He's standing there and he's standing up for something or someone. He's presiding. I had to look that word up. Presiding means, give me a second. I'm already ahead of the game. Preside. Stop it. You know I looked you up last night, so don't even be playing with me. Preside is to exercise guidance,
yes,
direction, or control. It ain't my job to direct him. And yes, it is if you were going to rule.
That's right.
That's why that pastor of that church, or that pastor, or that husband in the house, or that wife in it, they are to exercise guidance and control. You can tell when people haven't had any guidance. What? They're helter-skelter, all over the place, doing whatever. Your job as the person over there doing, if it's mother and son in that house, and they don't, your job is to guide that child and exercise control. As what, child, I can't control what's going on. Well, then you will never make it as a leader, and I will never place you in position of leadership, whether you male or female, because you don't know how to exercise guidance and control over your dwelling.
Right.
Ain't no excuse. No excuse. Don't make any, because that's the position. You just put yourself in a position. It's a verb. Number 2 for preside means to occupy the place of authority. Act as president, chairman, or moderator. That's what that word means. Preside. Give me another word out of there.
Maintain.
Maintain. We know what that is. Read.
Be over.
You're over it. You are over it. That's what Paul was saying. You are to rule. You are to be over. Read.
Rule.
Rule. You can't get around it. You can't. So that's the same word that Paul uses. So when I looked it up in my Vines, I really like what it had to stand before, hence to lead.
Yes.
Attend.
Yes.
When you attend something, think about it. You attend. It ain't like going to
a meeting. Going to a meeting.
Going to the meeting. You attend something. Well, I looked that one up yesterday. Let's look it up. A-T-T-E-N-D, attend. Won't you? To look after. To take charge of. That's what you're doing. You're looking after it. That's what it's indicating there. You are to indicate, see, care and diligence. It is your job to take care of it, and your job to be diligent with it, and it's translated rule with the reference to a local church. Because that's what Paul was talking about. Right. With reference to a family, it is your job to take care and to tend the family. That's what Paul is saying. Boy, that's kind of like giving you a great responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. And you have to take it serious. So he's saying, if a man does not know how to take care of, how to attend, how to direct and guide his own household, his own dwelling, he says, he can't take care of the church.
Can't take care of the church.
And we're placing people in position who don't know and not watching what's going on in their dwellings.
Amen.
Am I right?
Amen.
Because if he can't take care, he or she can't take care of that dwelling that when it comes to you think they change who they are when they walk through the church door? When they walk through that local assembly, all of a sudden they become someone different? Baloney. That's the same individual that's misdirecting and misguiding and not attending to his house. That's the same individual that walked through that door that's messing up his home. They didn't change because they walked through a church door.
Think they're going to get saved.
Call it what you want to. Say what you want to. But if they messing it up over there, they're going to mess it up over here. And you ain't got to wonder what you're going to get. Look at his household. Look at his dwelling. And that's what you're going to get.
Ooh, tough.
Because it's your job to bring order. It is your job to influence. Because that's what leadership, that's why now when John C. Maxwell says leadership is influence. See, that's what it is. It's influence. That's exactly what it is. It is influence, and you can't make it be nothing else but that.
So in other words, how can you influence someone else?
How can you influence someone else when you can't influence your own household?
Okay. Got it.
How you gonna do it? It ain't gonna work. Listen, just look at influence here. It's an act, the act or power of producing an effect.
I like that. The act
Or power of producing an effect. That's influence. You influence your children to eat snacks and junk food. Why? Because you eating it. See, it has an effect.
And I love it.
The power of capacity of causing an effect in indirect or intangible ways. Sway. You got them going that direction. You got them doing what you're doing. That's why Paul called out Peter, because Paul watched the behavior when certain saints would come down, Peter would withdraw himself, and Paul was sitting there watching that and said, man, you a hypocrite. Peter, the Apostle Paul called out the Apostle Peter on his hypocrisy because he was making the other saints sway. He had an effect on them because Peter hadn't quite got over that he's Jewish and that he ain't the only one that knew who God was, because God had now brought in the Gentiles through Paul, and when the Gentiles would come down, Peter would ease himself over. You know how some folks do when Caucasian folk come over, you ease on over to all the black folk because you can't handle it. And when the white folk come over, you ease yourself over to all the white folk, and you're not even aware that you and your friends, you have an effect on them. They don't even know why you moved over there, but they moved over there. Why? Because you moved over there.
Yeah.
Influence.
Yeah.
You swayed them. You had an effect on them. And you made them go that way, but they may not really want it to go that way. Right. So, oh yeah, you have influence on people. They talk about watch a kid with the basketball and watch all the kids following him. He's got an effect on them. He's affecting them, and they don't even know it because they want to play ball. So what they do, they follow the person with the ball. And if he grabs his ball and go home, what do most of them do?
Same.
They go home too. They disperse. He had an effect on them.
Yes.
And generally that leader, you watch even in our own home we see it. We have one of our sons that has a great effect on all our children.
Yep.
He sways them.
Yep.
Without even trying.
Yep.
Why? It's called influence. And leadership is only one word, influence. And if you don't have people following you, oh, you influencing, good or bad. You are. I told one lady one time, she said, well, what do you think about me? I said, oh, you definitely a leader. But you just use your influence for the wrong. See, you can sway them to get in line and follow the person that's in charge, or you can sway them to act the opposite of what that person is trying to get done. And that's what you're doing. You got those people behaving opposite
of what you're supposed to be doing.
Of what they're supposed to be doing. And it's called influence. And this is what Paul said you must have. If you're ruling your own house, you must rule. You must have influence that affects them and sway them to go that direction,
different way,
which is the right direction. That's what I'm telling you. Once you understand words, you pretty much.
Yeah.
And generally, when you are taking care of something, indicating care and diligence. When you diligently, are you taking care of something and you're not beating it as you're taking care. See, you could be taking care of someone but beating them to death, knocking them all around, trying to put their clothes on. That ain't care. That's not diligent. That's not handling that person. See, that person knows when they've been handled diligently or softly and lovingly and really caring for me. And they also know when you're being abusive. I'll never forget it. I was spanking Jared at 1 and 2 years old. I think he was about 1.5, 2. And he just looked up at me and said, "Daddy, why are you so rough? You ain't got to be that rough, Daddy." And I tell you, I've never had a statement to hit me in the heart like he said that day. And I can promise you, he's 11 years old. He don't even remember making that statement. But I was being rough. It wasn't a diligent care. It wasn't a loving touch and letting him make mistakes like I do now. And when he gets sleepy, I'm not looking at what he's doing. I'm looking at why he's doing it. You might need to do this. You might need to do that. Or, "Daddy, what do you think?" Or I turned him loose on the grass the other day, and when he finished, gave him a compliment versus, "You didn't do that right. You didn't cut the grass like." Just go back and try it again. Because I'm learning how to be a parent. I'm learning because I didn't get this from my father. I didn't get the stuff that I'm doing. It's not an excuse not to do it. I just didn't get it. But you can learn it.
Yes.
You learn it.
I'm sitting here teaching you now. Nobody taught me this stuff because I learned it. I kept looking. I'm looking for stuff to make me a better man, to make me a better husband. And the more... Let me look up the word attend. Because that was one of the words we used, right? Attend.
Attend?
Yeah, attend. I think that was in here. It may be.
Ain't this fun?
2 years old.
2 years old. I'm telling you the truth. That hit me in my heart. And you know why it hit me? Because I was being rough. I knew I was being rough.
Yeah.
Attend to means to deal with something. I attend to that when I'll attend to that when I come back from vacation. That means I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah.
But most men or most people don't tend to stuff. They don't deal with it. We call it like the ostrich. We stick our head in the sand or we look the other way and pretend we don't see it. That's not ruling. You have to deal with it, but you have to learn how to deal with it. How do you deal with conflict in the family? How do you deal with conflict in your dwelling? You just can't not deal with it because it's going to create even a greater mess.
Yeah.
And that's what we have in homes today. People who just decided, I ain't going to deal with that.
Let it go.
And let child, I don't see nothing. Hear no evil, see no evil until evil see you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you.
Sooner or later.
And you know, it's all on you.
Right.
I want to go to the top.
Okay.
Deal with your dwelling and you'll get to the top. And especially when we see the effects. Because you're going to have some kind of effect, whether it's tangible or intangible. Somebody's going to see what you are doing and how it's affecting your family, your dwelling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because that's where the word came from. Household, your family. We're going to see how it's affecting your family. That's half of the problem that's going on today in the world, is what has affected the family. Look at David. It's a good example of what David done and how it affected the family. If you don't think the things that you're doing affects your family, you must be you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
But that's what Paul, and that's what we're trying to get. Is our job is to stand before. Our job is to lead,
Yeah.
attend to. Not just attend, but attend to. Indicating care. Let's look at the word diligent. Look that word up. Let's look up diligent. D-I-L. I love looking up words. I'm telling you, when that teacher would say, get out your dictionary, she just threw this rabbit in the briar patch, brother. I'm telling you. Diligence. Indicating care and, addition to care, a steady, earnest, and energetic effort.
Say it again.
That's what attend means.
Say it again.
A steady, earnest, sincere. Because remember when we looked at the word seek, it means to covet earnestly, which means a sincere, a steady, sincere, energetic effort. That's what you give.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word diligent.
Mm-hmm. The attention and care. That's what you give attention to it. Child. It also means haste. Because the longer you put it off, what's going to happen? The worse
You're gonna get.
the worse it gets.
Amen to them.
Yeah. My daughter told me one time, you just delaying the inevitable. You know what's going to happen. A lot of people already know what their families are going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done.
Yeah. Right.
I remember a man stopped me at his house and he said, this is what he said to me as his family was falling apart and I'm helping him load up stuff. He said, this is years and years of neglect.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is years and years of neglect, not governing, not saying anything, not doing nothing. And it came to the point where she's taking my motorcycle and she can't even ride a motorcycle.
Wow.
Yeah. See, because in governing, you got to learn how to govern.
Yep.
You have got to learn how to govern because it ain't going nowhere. You're going to have to learn. Govern. What does govern mean? You have got to learn to exercise continuous sovereign authority over your dwelling.
Continue to.
Continuous. You know what continuous means, right?
On and on and on. Keep going.
I did it last year. I ain't governing this year. You.
That's enough, guys. I ain't doing it no more. Yeah.
You have got to learn how to govern, which means what?
Rule.
Rule control.
Bring order, influence, administrate,
Maintain.
distribute, protect, maintain, accountability, responsibility, and produce. I'm tired, but you still must continuously learn to govern, to exercise. That was another word. I mean, I was just looking at these words up yesterday. Oh my God.
So much.
So much. No wonder we get tired.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
We need help. You see why so many men are absent? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's why so many men have disappeared. Because they don't want to exercise sovereign, continuous sovereign authority or take responsibility, be accountable. We don't want it. And we go to church, and what's behind the walls? Most 90% of them, women. Not saying that you can't, because men have just disappeared. We don't want this.
Right. I'll take the easy way out.
Want the easy road.
Don't do nothing.
I won't do it. I'm gonna pretend I don't see nothing. I'm gonna pretend that it don't exist.
Right.
I'm not gonna attend to it. I'm not gonna deal with it. But then you start pointing fingers and blaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do nothing.
Because you didn't do that. You didn't do your job. You didn't do your part. But I vow in my house, I'm going to do, and I'm figuring it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you learn how to delegate and you get some help. You need help. I'm telling you, this was happening to me. And I told my wife I was getting ready to cut the grass, and my son come out and said, "Daddy, let me help you." And I thought, well, he don't know what he's doing, and he just go. And it just came to me. He's got to learn.
You gotta learn.
Don't get tired of
right.
teaching him and letting him learn. And
Don't you?
so what I did, so you will get tired because you want to know. You know you can do it right away.
And you want to
get
hurry
the job,
up.
and you want to hurry up and get it done.
No.
But he's
You
not
gotta take your
learning.
time.
So I said to myself, I am going to fight this urge that I have in me to get this done quickly. I didn't even start the lawnmower up.
Good.
I didn't even start the lawn. I'm going to let him do it all. He pulling it real slow. I said, no, keep pulling it.
Harder.
I showed you one time how to do this, and you show me what I showed you. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. He mashed the handle down, grabbed the string. I said, you got to pull it with more strength than that. Pull it like it's a hamburger you getting ready to eat. And it started up, and I didn't say another word.
That's right.
And 15 minutes later, I didn't have to cut the grass. He had cut the whole thing, and all I said to him, do you see any grass sticking up? And I'm learning. I'm fighting the urge of thinking I have to do. Who washes his clothes?
He washes.
Who taught him how to wash his clothes?
We did.
You did.
We do.
A little bit, but she was there most of it. We have. If we want, how are you ruling your dwelling?
Teaching them how to cook.
How do you? Kyson now can make an egg sandwich. He made a stupid egg sandwich this morning. I call it. He put
That's
banana on a fried egg and bread. I wouldn't eat it, but he ate it and said it was good. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's him.
But the point is, you'll get to lay down a little bit longer. You supervise. Why? Because you are the person that's exercising authority over your domain. You're governing, and you're going to get something in the end.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Yeah, glory to God.
Yes.
That either make your life easy or make your life hard.
Yeah.
But it's all up to you.
That's right.
It's all up to us.
That's right.
Woo. Hallelujah.
Shoot, he did such a good job in the front that I said, man, let's go in the back now. He said, I said, see that stump? Don't run over that stump with my lawnmower. You make me have to buy a new one. So while it was not running, he pushed it beside it and said, I can get beside it. Daddy, let me show you right here. So I said, now start it up and get to work. And he cut the whole backyard, the whole front yard, and the whole side. And all I had to do was stand there and watch and sip water. I was tired watching him. Boy, you working.
Make sure
you working hard, son.
Right.
You bringing me thirsty. But that was 10, 15 minutes. I didn't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
At least 20 minutes. I didn't have to do nothing but supervise.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning.
Yes.
How am I going to rule my dwelling? I'm not going to have grown children sitting on the sofa playing games. When we wash their clothes, what we do to them, honey? Especially now, I don't have to wash them to deal with Jared. But the other one, I don't. That middle one, I wash them. You hang them up. When they dry, you take them down. You fold them and you put them up. And if you throw them in that drawer, I'm going to take them out of that drawer, throw them on the bed, and watch you fold up every one of them.
And watch you get mad
and
upset.
And watch you get mad and upset, and I don't care. Because my job is to bring order in this house. My job is to influence this house. My job is to administrate this house, distribute, protect, maintain. When he was looking at me yesterday, he said, you got to do all that, Dad. I got to do it. This is my role to do all of this.
Wow.
That's why when I say don't go nowhere, don't go up the street, it's for your protection.
Yes.
That's my role.
That's right.
Because if something happened, they ain't going to go looking for you. They're going to come looking for the person that is what? Ruling the house. Mama and daddy. Not just daddy, mama and in some cases, they'll put both of us in jail.
That's right.
Who's in charge?
Who's in charge of the house? Who is bringing forth order in the house? I just let mine do whatever they want. Keep that up, and you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay now and play later, or you can play now and pay later. But at some point, if you don't bring order in that house, you are going to pay. And you're going to be blaming folk for why it happened, but it's all because you would not what? Rule your own household, your own dwelling, your own house, your own family. Leave other folks' family alone.
That's right.
Leave somebody else's family alone and learn how to. And if you do that, you might influence another family or sway another family because they like what they see going on where?
In your home.
In your house. Now that's when you get a chance to tell what you know. But a lot of people want to tell what they know, and theirs is falling apart.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna stop right there.
That's right.
See you next week. Have a great Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to all the veterans and to every one of you out there. Love you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. I think I went an hour.